Guys, look, I'm gonna put blush on just for you guys. Oh, hold on, my door's opening. Just gonna need to lock it on my face again. I don't know why my door opens. It's like my house shrinks in the winter, but really it should be the other way around, right? I don't know. Anyway, see, I'm gonna put on my pixie glow stick for you guys. How cute. How cute before we get started. And mostly because I just wanted to put blush on. It's literally like, what time is it? Like 3? What time is it? It's like 2:30. So I have no business putting blush on at this time, but I was just feeling it, and then I was like, I'm gonna put it on before we begin. And I probably should have thought about what I was gonna say a bit more before I hit record, but I just think I like chatty, rambly videos, and I think I've said this before, but like the whole purpose of my, like the way I want to make the video like how I would want to watch it, and I want to watch it like, I just want to put it on in the background and have it feel like I'm like just listening to like my friend talk or whatever. And so that's kind of the vibe that I'm trying to go for. So cute. Oh, how much product is in this actually? I've never wondered. Oh, a significant amount, to be fair. Like that much. That's quite a lot. Is that all? I don't want to touch it. I don't want to get my fingerprint on it. That's giving a little grimy. But I actually have 2 of these, like in the same shade as well, in the shade Juicy. So, I mean, these came out a while ago. I've had it for quite some time, but I think I've just like reintroduced myself to like how much I love it. Anyway, the reason I'm actually making this video is because I said that I was going to do this anyway, which was kind of like a recap video of my time in Japan and Korea, because this is like the first, sorry, I can't shut the window though because it's going to be too hot otherwise, so they're going to be open, so you might hear a breeze. But essentially I wanted to do a little recap video of, is the lighting okay? A recap video of the whole like trip, the 24 days essentially, from London to a layover in Dubai to Tokyo, like, and everything in Japan, like Kyoto, Osaka, Hiroshima, and then flying over to Jeju, and then Busan, Seoul, and then back to London again. So that 24 days, I just thought it'd be great to show you the spreadsheet and like how like all the finances and everything worked out, and just like doing like a quick recap and like any, not tips, but like kind of tips. Also, I think it was really important for me to like talk about the type of trip that we had, because you can make like so many, like different type of trips. So you could you know, like make it more backpacky or make it more like bougie and luxe compared to like what I did. Yeah, so that's kind of, oh sorry, that wind is actually going to get a little annoying, isn't it? Okay, maybe I should just, that might be better. So I think that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to pull up my spreadsheet, talk through it all, and I also think it'll be really fun to do sort of like a recap slash like a rewatchy video at some point by entering in the clips. But if I can be bothered and if I have the ability, I will try and maybe insert small clips of things in this video so that you don't have to go back and like look at another one to understand what I'm talking about. But no promises on that one, because it's about whether I can be bothered to do that to be honest with you. So I'm actually going to just give me a hot second while I just try to screen record. I'm going to maybe, I don't know if I'm going to be the small picture or if this screen's going to be the small picture, but essentially what we did is made a spreadsheet. We made it on Google Sheets because it's easy for us both to edit it, and during our planning calls and everything, me and my cousin, because we like don't live like near each other, so we would like call each other on like FaceTime, and we could screen share and look at the same document at the same time and both edit it at the same time. But we've got I'm just gonna like take you through some of the pages. Nobody watches these videos, but if you do and you want this spreadsheet, just maybe like comment, or I don't really know, like send me a DM on Instagram, I don't know, and I can like send you a copy of this. This kind of looks boring right now, but you'll see in a second, like it is actually, hi to the breeze, really appreciate it. Thank you, Mother Nature, for, you know, everything. But just like, can we just like not be so windy for a hot second, please? Because I'm just trying to, anyway, whatever. So this is like a to-do list. So essentially we would just update this as we were going along, and it was just the first page that would open up, and we would like check it, like who was going to do it, if it was completed or not. Obviously you're seeing this once I've done it, so a lot of the things have been marked as, or all of the things have been marked as complete. Yeah, so there's just like, you know, like upgrading our flights, booking hotels, checking visa requirements. At the time of me going, plus also I think kind of now as well, is if you're from the UK, you didn't need a visa for Japan or Korea, but of course you should check on your government body website about whether you do or you do not need a visa, because I mean, from the UK it's pretty easy to get a visa to most places anyway, and it's like online and stuff, so not too much to worry about, but it's something you should check. Travel insurance, I personally buy travel insurance for the whole year now, just because I've started to travel a lot more and it's more beneficial in the long run. But don't forget to read all your terms and conditions, because it doesn't always include certain things. So for example, if you're going skiing or if you're doing water sports, that's either an add-on you need to do, or you need to be wary about the fact that it will not be included. I also get insurance for like items I take, so like if I'm taking something that's valuable, like tech items or whatever, or if I've got something that's over a certain value and I want to make sure that if something happens that I'm able to like claim for it essentially, which fingers crossed. Travel insurance I don't need to use, but you never know. But it provides like medical cover, because in the UK we have the NHS, so if you're ill you can just go to the hospital and like not be too worried. But obviously when you're in other countries it doesn't always work that way, and you might need to pay out of pocket, and then you might want to claim it back, so important to check that. You can also get a global health card, which I have. I'm pretty sure I don't know about other countries, but from the UK you can definitely apply to get it. It's really important that you have that with you when you travel, just in case. I had to take like driving permit and get a driving permit and stuff, because we were doing the go-karting thing, and it required you to have an international driving permit. But also if you're renting a car you might need an international driving permit, so check as well, because there's different kinds of permits for different countries, and you can easily get it at the post office. You just need to take like a picture with you and your normal driving license, but it's really easy. I put Japan Travel Pass on here. I think I may have mentioned this previously, but it actually worked out that because of the fact that they'd actually raised the price of the Japan Travel Pass by like, I think like £100 or so, whatever that converts to in your currency, that it didn't actually make sense for us to purchase the Japan Rail Pass, and it was actually cheaper for us to just buy normal like train tickets and stuff. But there's a website, it's easy to search up, and it will let you like calculate whether it's worth you purchasing the Japan Rail Pass, or if it's going to be beneficial for you to buy individually. Or there's other more regional passes that you can do like a combination of. We did the combination, and I think you'll see it later, where we purchased a few like singly, and then we bought like a a regional pass for one of the areas, which covered a bunch of things. I think where another tip just about like whatever is, when you're traveling, you have to be willing to be flexible, adaptable, know that things might go wrong, but just like it's okay, like don't worry about it. And again, that's about the people you travel with as well. Like, don't take things too seriously, but also don't be too immature. You have to find like a real balance, or you need to have a real balance of people who are going to be there. On the topic of travel, there's like in Japan, there's the Suica card or the Passmo card that you can get from the airport. So we got the Suica card because we landed in Tokyo, but you can use it throughout Japan. I think if you start somewhere else like Osaka or Kyoto, you probably would end up getting the Passmo card. It's just like a regional one where one is more available. They're super easy to top up. There's machines everywhere, and in Japan especially, because it is so tourist friendly, like all the machines will have language options for you to change it into English, and a lot of the members of staff, particularly at big train stations, so for example in Osaka, in Tokyo, speak English, and or at least some form of English they will understand, so they'll be able to help you out if you need to. That was particularly helpful for us when we were trying to collect our Kansai pass, which is the regional pass that we bought. So really helpful lady at the train station helped me with that. And in Korea we got the T-Money card. Now I actually think I preferred the T-Money card over the Suica card, only because you buy the T-Money card from like any convenience store, and you can also top it up at any convenience store, so you didn't have to top it up in the train station. The only caveat is that you have to pay by cash. That's another thing, is that surprisingly, like especially considering these are quite tech central hubs, like Samsung is like major in Korea, and like LG and stuff like that is really major in Japan. A lot of places, like they do take card, but it's like quite cash dominant, and I think in the UK, especially over the last like 5 or 6 years, but even before that, like we're not very cash dominant. Like, I don't really go outside the house with like cash, like pretty much ever, and sometimes not even my cards. Like I literally just have my phone and I'll like pay with my phone. But these are some things that are not foreign concepts because they know they exist, but they just find it a little odd or a little out, like abnormal when you try and do it. Like I went to a pretty like normal restaurant in a shopping mall in Tokyo, and I tried to I pulled out my phone to pay, and she just looked at me and went, huh? And luckily her manager was there, and she was like, yeah, she can pay by her phone. And this lady was looking at me and like so in such surprise, like she's paying with her phone, like what sorcery is this? So yeah, something to consider. Other things, we did hire a car in Jeju, so we've got that on the to-do list. Again, like more travel passes, custom forms. Some custom forms are online. This makes it easier for when you get there, because like in Japan all you had to do was scan the QR code. eSIMs are honestly so good. The only thing that I did notice is the one that I particularly use, I don't know if that's the case with all of them, but I've got this one from Nomad. It's really good. The connectivity and everything was really good. It was super simple to do, and it was really good value for money. We just got one, and we like hotspotted and like tethered with each other because we knew we weren't really going to separate too much, and we just shared the 20 gigabytes of data, and we only ended up using like 16 of it over the 24 days, and considering we pretty much were attached to the data like all the time, it was really useful. Do bear in mind though that it doesn't give you an international phone number, so you can't like call with it, and that was a particular point of contention when we were in Korea and we were trying to order food, and we don't have a Korean number, of course, and just a lot of the apps there do require a Korean number to like order food. Luckily we had a really nice Airbnb host, so I didn't have to worry about that too much, but it's just something you might want to consider if that's going to be a big sticking point for you. But we didn't really have any need for it aside from that. But the thing I wanted to say was I don't know like how the whole eSIM thing works, but it basically set my location or like my origin, because you can have like 2 SIMs on your phone at the same time. So I still had my UK SIM like in my phone. I didn't have to remove it. It was still usable. But if I wanted to access the data, then I would have to have my eSIM turned on as my secondary or primary SIM. But if I did that, it would set my location to like Hong Kong. And if you're a big TikTok user, you'll know that TikTok is not available for like in China and like Hong Kong and like Taiwan. And so if you're trying to use TikTok and you're on your primary on your data, it doesn't work. It will log you out. It won't work. That's not to say that it won't work at all, because all you need to do is like turn it off, connect to the Wi-Fi of the country that you're in, providing you're not in China, Taiwan, whatever, Taiwan, Hong Kong, whatever, and it will work. So it still works. It's just a little bit of extra effort, and they don't explicitly tell you that, because obviously that's not what I think they think their users are using it for anyway. But if you do use that, I particularly use Nomad. If anybody wants 25% off, I still have some referral codes available. Again, DM or comments, whatever, and I can send you my referral code and you get 25% off your order. Caveat, I will also get 25% off. But just saying. What else? Yeah, booking activities. A lot of these things were things that we needed to do before we went, and that's why they're on here. And booking main trains and stuff. Exchanging money. I didn't personally have to exchange money because our trip was after both my birthday and Christmas. My like mum's birthday and Christmas gift to me was like currency. So nice. That all worked out really nicely, I guess. Now, moving on to the next spreadsheet is cost. So we were actually using this. I can't believe I'm showing everybody this because it was a pricey trip. And if my mom sees this, she's going to be shocked. She has seen the spreadsheet, but you know what I mean. Another thing is we actually shared our spreadsheet with like our respective people who care about us while we were away, so they knew roughly the plan of what we were going to be doing, just in case, because of the time difference. It was 9 hours at the start of the trip and then 8 hours by the time we came back because of British summer time, and the clock's changing. But it allowed them to know that where we were roughly, if we weren't able to get in contact. I mean, that didn't really happen, but there was a couple of times where we weren't really able to communicate very well back and forth, and so it was either a simple like, hello, we're still alive message, or check our spreadsheet. Even though I did have an air tag, my mum doesn't really understand how that works, and same with like find my phone and stuff like that. But yeah, we were actually updating this kind of as we were going along on the trip, and like keeping track of all of our expenses, particularly because we paid a lot in cash, because we both had our respective cash, but we did pay by card sometimes. But you can see we tracked it by the item, the cost, and then we made a cost per person, because we weren't really too like thingy, like, you know what I mean, like we weren't too fussed about like who was spending, because we knew we would just calculate it afterwards, who paid. And then if we'd already split it, for example, a lot of the already split things you'll see will be either things that we were just buying as individuals, or like if we were paying for our travel, because we have to upload like money on to our own speaker cards or our own T-Money cards anyway, so it is what it is. And then cash. Again, these are things that we tried to like keep track of as we were going along. And then when we came back a little bit after, you can see this is my cousin's handiwork anyway. She did like the totals of like how much we'd spent and who'd spent what, and etc to see. But we'd done pretty even spending somehow, which was good for us, I guess. This first box, as you can see, is pre-trip. So these are the things that we'd paid for in advance, like a lot of our hotels, oh, the wind, our flights and extra luggage if we needed it, you know, any of the like the tours and stuff that we'd booked prior, and any travel things that we'd booked prior as well. And then we have an itinerary thing. This was this was probably the thing that we meant to share with our family, which was just to let them know like when our flight landed, when it took off, and where we would be staying at each of these times. It was also really helpful for when you complete like immigration forms, etc., because it's really good to know like where you're going to be when you land. Then we've got the day-to-day. So this was a spreadsheet where we'd roughly put and planned what we wanted to do on each day. We probably spent a lot of time planning Japan, and which really tired us out, so we didn't have that much planned for Korea. And you'll probably know if you'd watched any of the videos is our plans for Korea actually changed because of how tired we were from Japan, so we actually didn't end up going to Daegu or Gyeongju, but that just means we can go next time. But you can see that it's so much less, like particularly in Seoul, like we have like barely anything actually planned, but that was because we wanted to see like how we were, and we were just so tired from like Tokyo and Hiroshima, Kyoto. By the time we were in Osaka, we were really, really tired, so we wanted to take it down a few pegs. But this was just like our general rough plan of places to go. I'm going to skip the tracker tab just for now, because the tracker tab is what I'm going to be speaking about most. So I'm going to actually skip to packing. My cousin made this. It's just a basic packing list of things that you might need. On this page, we've got map of Korea, but nothing else. I don't know why we did that. Oh, this one was the one. So again, like I said, we did major planning for Japan. And so we've got like potential like walking / travel routes in Japan of like how things might go. So this is Hiroshima day 1. We just wanted to see if everything was in the vicinity of where it should be. Hiroshima day 2, this is us going to Miyajima and back. Kyoto, again, just to see like how we would be spending our time. And you can see here, I don't know if you can see my cursor, but you probably can. You can see where we've put in our locations, and you can see we've done the same for Osaka. We've got some useful links, but this is just a small link. I actually have a whole other spreadsheet as well. This is when we were doing our accommodation research. There's a bunch of places. In terms of accommodation, it is pretty pricey, but it's not too bad. It's not like London, Paris, New York, in which cases it's okay. I do recommend that if you're traveling to anywhere in Asia, look at Agoda, because a lot of times Agoda has better deals than just going on booking.com or like Airbnb, etc. But those things are also very good, so do look at them. But just look at a range of places, but I think you'll probably find that Agoda will be best. We found that for our initial like searches, just do the hotel, like Google hotel search, and find like specific areas. Also, people's travel websites are really helpful for you to determine what type of areas you want to stay in. I personally think that we stayed in good areas, but it depends on what type of trip you're going on, like if you're going with a big group of people, or if you're doing more of a backpacky trip, or if you're doing a trip with like children or like a family trip. All of those things will influence where you choose to stay, but I think that we chose pretty well in terms of our locations. Again, you can watch the videos. I think I mention all the time like when we move from place to place where we're staying, and again the transport links are really good anyway in like both Japan and in Korea, that it is relatively easy to get around without too much trouble. And then the other tab is just the car rental tab, but that's like barely anything. Now moving on to the tracker tab. So basically what I did here was track where we were, what, like you can see the city, the date, the day, location, the type of cost. I did that so that I could make a pie chart afterwards, but I haven't got around to doing that yet. A description, the cost, who paid, and how we paid. So for example, if it was prepaid prior to the trip, if we paid cash, if we paid card, if it was a free thing that we did. I extrapolated most of this data after we'd come back from the trip, but from the costs page, but it was like all of it collated together and separated by date. And personally, I think it looks really pretty, and I'm a bit of a spreadsheet girly. I really love it. This is the tab that I'm like, if people want this kind of template, then they can just comment, DM, whatever. I'll see if I can send it. But yeah, so essentially I'm going to be able to like go through each of these parts. I've realized I've been talking for a really long time and I don't really know what I've even said, but I'm essentially going to walk through all of this spreadsheet. So let me get some water first. Let me pause my camera a second, just give myself a bit of a breather because this is a lot. Okay, I'm back. I didn't go and get this, I already had this, I just forgot about it. I've got some strawberries. On my plate. Is this still a tracking line with her? Anyway, I have not, however, put on my screen record, which I probably should do. Can I like zoom in? Oh, okay. Is this too big? Is this okay? I think this is gonna be, yeah, there we go. That looks good. Okay, so let me get a tad bit more comfortable. So we went from London, so we're classing this as day one, even though it's not technically, like, we're not anywhere. Luckily for us, like, a lot of the things that we, like, our travel to the airports and stuff was free because my mom drove me and my aunt drove my cousin like to our house so that we could drive together. We both also have American Express gold cards, and so we both have access to airport lounges in specific countries by the priority pass, and you can like just get the app on your phone and they give you a physical card as well, so you can see like which airport lounges and stuff you can access. So we didn't actually spend any money at what actually I think did my cousin buy something before we got on the plane? I'll have to go back and check the video. She might have purchased something before the flight, and which is not on here, but we didn't have to like buy anything at the airport. What we really were looking for was Burger King, because we love Burger King cheese bites, but for some reason, unless we missed it, London Heathrow doesn't have a Burger King. And if you watched my Dublin video, you'll know that anytime we travel, particularly from like even on road trips, but even from the airport, like at the airport, we always I'm not sure if I showed you a clip, but in my Greece video where I went on like a family trip, we also went to Burger King first. But for Greece we didn't go from London Heathrow, we went from Birmingham airport. So just something to think about. And then on here I've also separated our flight. So we flew on Emirates. The reason being is because we can collect air miles with American Express Gold, but they're not specifically for British Airways. You can like distribute them to multiple different airlines. You just need to check the ratio of how you are going to distribute them. So I would only recommend doing it is if it is like a 1-to-1 exchange, at least, like not a 2-to-1 exchange, because that's not worth all the money essentially that you've had to spend to be able to collect those points. And so we did that so that we would be able to upgrade our flights on at least one of the legs. We didn't end up upgrading on the way there, we upgraded on the way back, which you'll see in the video. It's always difficult to get upgrades anyway from London to Dubai, at least, because it's always busy. But just so you know, that's why we did that. People are probably thinking, why didn't you just take Korean Air? Or sorry, it wouldn't have been Korean Air all the way to Tokyo. Which Air Japan, is that what it's called? I don't know. It would have been a Japanese airline anyway. And why didn't you take Korean Air back? That is the reason why. We probably could have exchanged for those as well, but I don't know. Just that we were busy. This was the decision we made at the time. You can also see that we decided to top up with like a large amount with our Suica card. We also decided not to take a taxi on the day we got there. We did check beforehand, and it would have cost, particularly at that time of night, because it was basically essentially almost midnight. So there would be the night rate and the airport rate, of course, for taxis, and we had a lot of baggage, and there was, you know what I mean, there was two of us, there was a lot of bags. It would have cost between according to the website, if they charged you correctly, it would have cost between like £50 to £60, which is not a problem, but the public transport is just so good in Japan that you may as well just do it. Just don't be nervous about it too much. So we didn't do that, but of course you've got to bear in mind that it will probably be more expensive when you get there anyway, because it usually always is, unless it's somewhere like Paris where there's a flat rate from like the airport to like whichever side, like Rive Droit or Rive Gauche. But this wasn't Paris, so and then we went to our hotel. We just checked in. We were tired but delirious but awake, so there was like a whole thing. Just watch the video for that. And to be honest, the jet lag didn't even hit me that day. It was the day after. But the next day we went to Tsujiki Market, and that's the day when we also did the go-karting, and then we got some like lunch, and like you know what I mean. It was just like a whole day of like random things, so you can see the kind of things that we were doing. Essentially just a lot of the money that we spent was either prepaid on activities that we booked, or it was like spent on food. I think you also have to counter in the fact that you might be spending money like shopping. For us, we didn't shop that much in Japan, but that's because we had like a weight limit on our suitcase that was lower than our actual weight limit on the way back home, when we were traveling from Japan to Korea. So we were really mindful about that. So we knew that most of our shopping would be done in Korea if we were to buy anything. Yeah, so just like I'm not going to go through everything because you can like watch the video, but a lot of the money that we spent was spent on food. Now, we were in the fortunate position that we didn't really have to budget too much in advance, but maybe we should have thought about it on like how much we were going to spend on food. It was kind of like an intuitive thing, like, oh yeah, like why not kind of thing, like, oh, we'll just eat here, or oh yeah, I'm a bit snackish, let's get here. Or like every night we'd go to a convenience store and like buy. I'm surprised I don't have more convenience store footage, because I swear to God, we went to like a convenience store at least once a day, if not 2 to 3 times a day. So I am shocked that we don't have more footage of that. But you'll see a lot of the like reoccurring payments are going to be at like convenience stores. Another thing to note that's different is that a lot of places like don't open like cafes and stuff. I didn't really see many in Japan that were open like early in the morning. Like when I say early, I mean like 8 o'clock. That's not that early, but like, do you know what I mean? Like they're not really open, so everybody just grabs stuff from convenience stores. So a lot of like our breakfasts, not that my cousin really eats breakfast, but like our breakfast and stuff was like a convenience store coffee with like some convenience store item to eat if we wanted to eat something. Whereas in like Korea, there's a big cafe culture, so there's a bunch of cafes like everywhere. It's a bit different in Japan. Yeah, so we were just like traveling. Costs such as like Suica card updates, you'll see the top-ups, you'll see a bunch of those. I tried to put in times as well. You'll see that we weren't out very late very often, but that was because we were tired. And we did do some shopping. We went to the Megadon Kita, of course. How can you not? I wish we could have bought more things. The luggage transfer, honestly incredible. You do need to give yourself a couple of days leeway. So if you're going to be like moving around really quickly, like if you're only staying places for like one night, there's probably no point in doing the luggage transfer. I'm on about luggage transfer if you've got like a suitcase, like a big suitcase. I think it is very helpful if you're going to be in a place for more than a night and you don't want to worry about, you know, like lugging your suitcase onto the Shinkansen, through the tube, like through the metro stations, through the like on the streets, whatever, because it's like a link between all the hotels. I'm not sure if they do it at capsule hotels because we never tried that, but like all the hotels will do this. They essentially, you fill out this form, they'll ring the other hotel to like check that they'll be like moshi moshi to them, if you know, you know, and they will contact the hotel to check that you do have a reservation for that hotel, and then that hotel will confirm, and then you send it, and then you'll receive it on the other side and you just collect it from reception, or reception will deliver it to you, whatever. So yeah, I really, really, really do recommend that. Another thing that I absolutely do recommend, head spa in Japan. Honestly, I fell asleep, first of all because of the jet lag, but also it was just so good, so amazing. So I've sent my mum to a Japanese head spa in the UK now. It's really good. Another thing that I should probably mention is, you can see here is we went on the Nozomi Shinkansen. Now, if you get the Japan Rail Pass, you can't go on the Nozomi Shinkansen. So think about basically just be careful about the restrictions of certain trains that you're not allowed to go on, or like whatever, if you purchase any of the passes. Just beware. Nozomi Shinkansen is the fastest Shinkansen. That's not to say that the other Shinkansen, I want to say brands, but it's not brand, but you know what I mean. Like, they're not fast. They are. It's just these ones are the fastest. Yeah, so you can see. Also, you see here, we went for an Italian dinner. People are going to be like, you're going to be in Japan, why are you going to eat Italian dinner? We live in the UK all the time. Do you think I'm eating English food all the time? I'm absolutely not. Like, if I was in India, would I be eating Indian food all the time? Absolutely not. Like, you gotta change it up. And honestly, this Italian food was amazing. The chef was Japanese, but it was just great. What else do I need to talk about? Yeah, this is Kansai Hiroshima area pass is what I want to talk about. So that's what we got, so that it would allow you to go on the trains with the pass in a certain area. It was a large area. But with this pass, we weren't allowed to go on the Nozomi. So that's what I'm talking about. Luckily, we didn't really need it because we weren't really going on really long trips anyway, but just something to be wary of. We did do quite a few touristy things. Of course, we're in Japan, we're going to do the touristy things. But it's kind of fun to like go off the beaten path as well, and not beaten path? Is that it? And do some other things. So I think having a good mixture of touristy things and non-touristy things. Don't be scared to just, not really have a plan. Just pick an area and walk around. We did that a lot when we were in Korea because we'd spent so time in Japan not doing that. So just something to be wary of. Of course, when you're going to these touristy areas, the prices are going to be higher. Like, we paid £7.27 for 2 ice creams at the Golden Pavilion. They were amazing. I did make a mess. Luckily, I don't have a video of that because I don't need video evidence of that. But like, it was £7.27. I could have gone to the convenience store and bought like 10 ice creams for that, and would have been just as happy. Probably more happy. 10 ice creams. I don't know what I was oh. Sorry, my hand actions got a little overactive there. But yeah. So just something to think about. One place I do want to recommend, even though it's super TikTok-y, is that a word? Is getting your ring from Galanta. They've got multiple shops. They make it in front of you. It's such an experience. I love it. Going to any type of food market is so worth your while. We did this thing where when we went to the food market in in Kyoto, we went to Nishiki market in Kyoto. Me and my cousin, we walked up and we walked down and we took it all in, and then we chose places, because then you don't feel like you're missing out. You've already decided. You get some steps in, a whole bunch of things. Another thing, you are going to be tired. Please take comfortable shoes, check the weather, take an umbrella if it's going to rain. Like, layers are super important, because even if it's hot out, if it looks cold outside, you wear a layer, and then you get outside and you're walking and you get hot, you can take the layers off. Really important. Another thing, please carry around like a tote bag or like a carrier bag or something, so that if you buy something you can put it in there, but also if you have rubbish you can put it in the bag, because a lot of times there's not like rubbish bins and stuff, and you can probably ask a street vendor if you could put it in their bin, and they're usually quite nice about it because they don't want clutter and stuff. But it's always good to just like, because it's annoying to have to hold it in your hand, but like having it in a tote bag and just like chucking it over your shoulder is so much easier, and just like take it back and discard it when you get home, or when you find the next bin, or if you find a vendor who's happy for you to chuck it away. So just something to bear in mind. Like I said, there's like a bunch of things that we did that was like whatever, but most of the I feel like I didn't really talk about this much because we didn't really film clips, but the onsen that we went to in Osaka, I kind of wish we spent longer there. We were already really tired from our our whole trip, like the jet lag, the tiredness. Me and my cousin were both getting a little bit ill. I think it was genuinely jet lag and fatigue that was getting us there. We'd had a really long day in Universal, but going to the onsen was really fun, relaxing. We needed it just to like bring ourselves into the zen mode a little. But it would have been nice. You could honestly spend hours at these onsens. So for if I ever go again, or if I go to a Jimjilbang in Korea, like you can spend hours there, like a lot, like at least half a day if you are going to go to one. We booked a private room, totally worth it if you're like a bit more, if you just want to be away from people or like a little less conscious. It's particularly good if you've got tattoos. My cousin's got tattoos. She didn't need to cover them because she was going in the private onsen, which is like a little room. It's like a little suite that you have to yourself, which is really, really good. I think the spreadsheet is now transitioning into Korea now. Now, one thing that we realized afterwards, but of course you learn from this, is what I mean about like being adaptable, being flexible, not worrying about and like overthinking. Like me and my cousin could have overthought this a lot because we'd not been before. When we booked our flights and like our travel and everything, like pretty much 9 months before we went, we didn't really think about this. But while we were on the trip, we were like, oh, why did we do this? It's because we didn't get we couldn't get a direct flight from Osaka to Jeju. How did it go? It went from Osaka to Busan to Jeju. So we essentially we spent the better part of a day just spent like traveling from Osaka to Busan and then Busan to Jeju, whereas what we really probably should have done was go from, good for future knowledge anyway, but go from Osaka to Busan, spend some time in Busan, then go from Busan to Jeju on a like completely other day after we'd spent like 3-4 days in Busan, which we were going to do anyway, and then instead of getting a flight from Jeju to Busan, gone from Jeju straight to Seoul, and then spent the time like that. Of course, we know that now, but we didn't think about that at the time. But it was still fun either way. Jeju, okay, so it's a small island, and we kept telling ourselves in advance, like, oh, it's a small island, like, it's not going to take long. And I think I've actually got here somewhere. Maybe it's on the day by day. You can see all these, like, Naver map. Hello? Like, links. Oh, dear. What have I done? Oh, hello? What has happened? What has happened? Do I need to refresh the page? I think it's getting a little confused. Oh, there we go. So, oh, hello. I'm going to stop the recording a second, see if that fixes it. The answer is, oh, it did. Okay, I'm going to screen record again. Record. Okay, so I'm going to open these naval maps that I made. These are, so if you don't know, Google Maps and stuff does not work very well in Korea, so they've got their own separate mapping system which is called Naver. It's really easy to get. You can translate it into English and everything, and that's how I made these maps essentially. So here's the English translated one, and you can see I've put in like the locations or the potential locations that we might visit, and you can see when you look at the time it's saying like 2 hours and 34 minutes. Now what's important to bear in mind, even though Jeju is a small island, is that even though it says it's 2 hours and 34 minutes by car, by the way, by car, you're going to be stopping at all these locations, so don't get overexcited. We only had like one proper full day because we had 2 half days on either side where we didn't really end up doing that much, but it's more about, you know what I mean, like we kind of knew that was going to happen, but it's really important for you to know that. And I was thinking like a lot of the time, because you can book private tours and stuff, which are supposed to be really good value for money, and the people are really nice. Like they'll take you around in like a van, and there'll be like 7 of you or however many people in your party. They recommend like picking like either like certain parts of the island, like picking the south of the island or picking the east of the island, like whatever. We kind of started, so just for reference, our hotel Airbnb was like in this area, kind of near the airport, and then we drove. Sorry, our Airbnb was like in this area, and then you can see that the plan was to like drive kind of around. We were essentially going to drive around. Of course, throughout the day, we realized that that probably wasn't a good case. I do recommend hiring a vehicle in Jeju, because if you do take public transport, you're going to be waiting a lot and wasting a lot of time. And everything's way too far to walk 100%. So maybe get a car or get like a private tour where they drive you around. But Jeju was super fun. It was really nice. We were tired though, but there's a bunch of things to do considering it's such a small island. It's so pretty. It's literally known as the Hawaii of like Asia, like South Korea. So really pretty. But this is one of the other things that I did, is get that up. So just something else to think about. I'm going to pull the tracker back up. I think I've like, see, this is, our tracker's too, it's too good, like it doesn't know what to do. There you go. I think it's the screen size that's like confusing it. Yeah, and then obviously by this time we decided we were so tired, so our time in Busan was honestly, Busan is beautiful. It's really amazing. I think our Airbnb host really helped. We were located really well, and we didn't have too much pressure on the trip or anything, because we'd already had such a good time, and like we'd visited so many things. I think we already felt culturally very awoke, so we weren't too concerned about a lot of things. But you can see that we basically were just shopping, visiting places, going to cafes, like walking around, trying food, like going to different areas, seeing different things. I love a little walk around me, so we did a lot of that. We went to the beach a couple of times. I'm not really a beach girly, but going to like Hyundai and Gwangali, honestly Gwangali beach is so good, and I don't feel like I hear a lot of people talk about it, but it's so beautiful. You can see the bridge from there, and it lights up, and it's so nice. So that's the other thing. Going on like the beach train. If you want to go on the sky capsules, you can go on those. Like, it's just really good. And then like the train from Busan to Seoul was super easy. It was quite long, but it was really easy to like get on the train and everything like that. Another thing is like etiquette in public places. So you're not supposed to like eat or drink while you're walking. If you buy something to eat or drink, you like sit on one side and have it. Basically, you don't like drink or like walk around with it, like actively consuming it. You don't like talk loudly, which is pretty difficult for me because I have a loud voice. And you pretty much don't talk at all on public transport. You'll see like everybody is on their phone, because signal is so good on like the underground in both Japan and in Korea. It's actually amazing. Maybe it's because they're not as underground as maybe like if you're in London. Like, if you're in London and you're going on the Piccadilly line, like you're going down, down, down. Do you know what I mean? Whereas, I mean, that doesn't excuse the bad connectivity in London. Please ship up, but shape up, shape up, whatever. But I'm just saying, yeah, you'll see like everybody like watching like dramas on their like Japanese dramas or like Korean dramas like on their phone, or like, you know, like reading webtoons or like whatever. I'm not really somebody who goes on my phone when I'm on public transport, just because I don't get travel sick, but I don't know, I just get like a headache from stuff like that, so I try not to do it. So I was more of a have my book with me, which is a bit more common. I think you see that a lot in like London and New York. People reading, actually I think I've seen it in Paris as well, like people reading a physical book. I'm not talking like Kindle or phone, not hating on the Kindle or the phone reading, but kind of hating on it, like reading my book physically while I was there. And I think people looking at me like, why is she reading, because it's like not normal, but yeah, I do that. I think also, so a thing that I do is like buy a book in like different places that I go, and I usually try for it to be an author from that country, and it may be translated by somebody else. So I read some translated Korean books, not a Japanese book though, but I have read a Japanese book, which is like Before the Coffee Gets Cold, is by a Japanese author. But I did the same thing in Paris, like I bought a book that was by a French author that was translated, or that they write in English but they are French. So I just think it's a really good way to like immerse yourself in culture. Yeah, so think about it if you're interested in widening your cultural horizons a little. But yeah, I don't really think I have much more to say other than like just try and immerse yourself in culture. Don't be scared to walk around a bit, and don't be so consumed about trying to do everything, because that causes tension. It just everything is much worse. Like just take a deep breath. It's okay if you miss some things. It just means you get to go back hopefully another time in the future. Enjoy your time. If you want to do a touristy thing, don't let other people talk you out of it. Like we went to Starfield Library, like that's a pretty touristy thing to do, but it was an amazing time. I had the Arabica coffee, amazing, of course. So just, you know, don't be scared to do the touristy things. The whole, like, you know what I mean? Like, just do what you want to do. Don't let the unknown scare you from doing something. Just do it. I think maybe that's like what I've learned on this whole trip. What I've also learned is that maybe we should occasionally consider, you know, the budget and like actually thinking about how much you want to spend on a specific thing before you go there. And I think I'm going to try and do that on my future trips that are coming up. I'm going to Singapore in September. I'm not too worried about India, but Singapore in September, sorry. I should probably think about that. I actually don't know if this video is going to go up before or after the planning videos, not after the thingy videos. I'm not really sure when this video is going up at all. All my videos are just kind of whenever right now. I've talked so much that I need to cough. But let me end this recording because I don't really think we need to look at the spreadsheet for any longer. But I think it's just really a nice consideration for you to think about when you're planning any trip, but particularly when you're planning a trip that's like a travelling trip, which is what I would call this, even though it's not like backpacking or anything. So the key takeaways should be, when you start thinking about your trip, think about what type of trip you want. I want to say that my trip is like culture meets comfort. So I want to be cultural, feel not like a local, but feel like do some local activities, but still feel comfortable. I want to stay in relatively nice places. I'm not too worried about like over budgeting and like really restricting myself. Like if I want something, like I want to eat here, I will eat here. If I want to do this activity, I will do that activity if I really want to do it. But also I didn't do every activity. Like we didn't go on the capsules. We thought about it, and you know, the Busan capsules, we thought about it, but the beach train was just as good. And it was like, hello, in my opinion, better value for money. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's a really important takeaway, is deciding at the start what type of trip you want, and if you're going with other people, setting the expectations in advance of what type of trip you want, because that will really, really help out to make sure that you're not like having rifts and stuff while you're on the actual trip. Yeah. What else? Don't take 2 suitcases on the trains in Japan and Korea, because they have a lot of steps, and the lifts are not always easily locatable, even if they are there. So unless you're willing to lug 30 kilo or like whatever, however many kilograms your suitcases are, like, oh my god, I felt so strong after that. And even like the taxi drivers and stuff will be like, oh my god, you girls are actually so strong. And we were like, oh, we know, like, guys, get your, and by guys I don't mean just because they're male or whatever, I just mean guys is the general term, like whatever. But yeah, get your strength up, because we've been lugging these around no problem. So don't be telling me when you're, all you have to do is lift it out the back of the boot of the car, that it's super heavy. Hun, let me handle it then. I've been handling it for 24 days. Yeah, just a few things to think about. Can't wait for our next trip. And the future trips that are coming. I don't know if people like to see the pre and post trip stuff, but I personally do. Like, I love watching people's videos of them planning their trips, and then also like what they learnt when they were there, because you see their sort of their character arc, of how like their expectations were before they went on the trip. I'm really sad that I didn't record much of my pre Japan stuff in terms of the actual planning. But yeah, like how they expected the trip to be, or the things that they thought. I guess you can see from the spreadsheet what we thought we were going to do and then what we actually ended up doing. But yeah, what they thought they were actually going to do, what they actually did on the trip, and then how they feel about it afterwards. So yeah, came to multiple realization. Yeah, I think I'm going to stop talking now, because this video is probably already like an hour long. But I want to see other people's planning of their trips, the trip videos, and also post-trip videos. So put the link in the comments or whatever, so that I can see it, and I will try and click on them, because like I said, I'm a YouTube girly. I love to watch YouTube videos when I'm vacuuming, when I'm getting ready in the morning, when I'm getting unready in the evening, like if I'm just like doing other things. I'm a multitasker through and through, so I will pretty much always like have something playing in the background that I'm like paying attention to, but not too deeply paying attention to. So send me and I will probably watch it. And I think that is all for now. I've sat in the most ridiculous positions in this video. And there we go. Oh, the subject is lost. There we go. That is all, and I will see you in the next one.